morning show. Todd. Oh, we're on mic now. Sorry, I got a little carried away with our wonderful intro. How we doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Have some coffee, breakfast sandwich.
Well, I just got out of work. And
how was work?
once again, we are coming to you on Monday from the past. Ooh. And we're going to continue our discussion about movies that made us, who we are, and why we're so awesome.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, jeez.
Movies have always played a huge role in both of our lives. I don't know if you look at both our little background drops there. It's a lot of movie, comic, well, on my end, comic memorabilia. Todd looks like my playroom when I was 6, and it makes me happy.
It's true. That actually, let's see. Yeah, that's my real Ghostbusters lunchbox.
I'm pretty sure I had the same one. You have the thermos too, don't you?
Thermos is still in there. You know, it's always one of those things where a lot of the times people are like, man, I got the lunchbox, but I lost the thermos. And like, my parents were going through or whatever. My mom's like, oh, yeah, here's a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, sweet. And I open it up. I'm like, oh, that's even better, man. The fucking thermos is still in there. Like,
did it smell
usually
like sour
seems
milk?
Yeah, probably. I don't even think I opened it. It was kind of one of those things where it's like opening the Ark of the Covenant. I probably just don't want to. Something in there will melt my fucking face off.
It probably. So, Todd, why don't you start us off with our continuation?
All right. I only got 2 left.
All right. Rock them out. We'll discuss them. And then I got one real big one left.
So this one just, again, goes back to the dumb humor, you know, the whatever, plus this man, you know, back in the 90s was hilarious. He kind of lost it as he went on, and then literally like lost it when he went on. But The Mask.
So you're saying Jim Carrey?
Yes.
So you think Jim Carrey has lost it?
Well, that period of time, he went pretty fucking weird.
Well, I don't know. Like with him, I feel like he got bored essentially playing variants of the same character. And he really wanted to try his act at dramatic work. And some of those dramatic movies kick ass.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. It's, to me, when somebody establishes themselves, because no one can deny that how he established himself. You know, obviously, I know you've probably seen Once Bitten, the first movie he ever did.
Yeah.
Which was just
awful.
Yeah, like 85, I think is when it came out.
That was pre In Living Color, right?
That's what I was going to say. So then, and that was even a comedy per se, you know.
Right.
But then In Living Color happened, and you had Fire Marshal Bill. You had him doing the fucking, I think the workout instructor. You had him doing Vanilla Ice. You had, you know, there was so much just goofy shit. He was James Carrey. And then, then there was, you know, Ace Ventura. There was The Mask. There was a second Ace Ventura, you know, like, even like Liar, Liar and stuff, and Yes Man, which was pretty much Liar, Liar, just in a different format.
Like 10 years later.
Yeah. Wasn't as goofy, but still had a lot of those mannerisms, just the Jim Carreyness. And, you know, is The Truman Show a good movie? Yes. Would I watch it multiple times? Absolutely not. Because watching somebody that did one thing basically for so long, and then to turn around and be like, I'm serious now. It's like, I get it, dude. And like, that's cool. And it shows your acting ability, but it's hard for me personally to watch more of your serious stuff because in my head, you are Ace Ventura. You are, Stanley Ipkiss, The Mask. You are, because that was your shit. And that's what you personified for so long, even in that Batman movie. You know, he was perfect for the Riddler, but again, the goofy Jim Carrey, you know, we all know that Tommy Lee Jones fucking hated him in that movie. Like,
See,
Despise that
I
dude.
disagree with him perfectly cast as the Riddler, and I'm pretty sure I've said this one on Movie Madness in the past. He more acted like the Joker as the Riddler, and so like my question for you though, do you have problems with seeing other actors like that, like Robin Williams, for example, Jamie Foxx?
Robin Williams
These are the
always
guys.
kind of did ish a variety of things. I mean, Popeye wasn't a. I mean, it was a comedy, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, and if nobody's ever watched that Popeye movie, I mean, the people I work with now, like a lot of them are a lot younger than me. I'm so talking about that. There was one of those fake Conor McGregor posters going around of him and Popeye, and I was like, oh yeah, Robin Williams. And people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, Robin Williams played Popeye in like 1980. Like
it might have actually
woman.
even been earlier than that. It might have been late 70s. It was 80?
No, it was 80. I looked it up when we were talking about it. The woman, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, from The Shining. I mean, like,
was it Shelley Duvall?
Yeah, and I haven't watched it in a long time. Like, probably, fuck man, I'm 41. Probably 25 to 30 years at least. I don't know if it still holds up.
Honestly, I probably haven't watched that since I was like 7 or 8. But I do remember having fond memories of it. But like, take Jamie Foxx for example. Jamie Foxx for the longest time, like in Living Color, the Jamie Foxx show, stand up, like he did like those character actors, and he segued into a far serious, dramatic.
And some can. And, and some can. And I don't, like I said, man, Jim Carrey's a phenomenal actor, and I don't take away any of his serious stuff. Just for me, it wasn't, meh. Even when he came back in the Sonic movies, like.
That was more original.
Old school Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Yeah. The mannerisms, the way he did things, that was Jim Carrey.
Yep. That over-exaggeration and.
Yes. Yeah. And that's, it's not a bad thing. Like, I think sometimes people are like, oh my God, you only do one thing, you're fucking one trick pony, da da da. It's like, it's not a bad thing. If you can make a living off of it and keep things fresh, again, we go back to Liar, Liar, and Yes Man. Same fucking movie, just a different premise. Oh, I can't lie in this movie. I can't say no in this movie.
Right.
So, shit like that is, like, okay, that's when it does start to get to a point where you're like, Sandler. Sandler's the same fucking way, man. Like, he started to get to that point too. That movie he made where he was him and his sister, like.
Jack and Jill.
And it's sad to see, man, because we all grew up with Sandler in the 90s and fucking Happy Gilmore and the Billy Madison and,
Speaking of which, they just announced like 2 days ago, Happy Gilmore 2 is in the works.
And see, that's...
it could be good.
It's one of those where it's like, why? Do we really need it? Will people understand it? Because, again, that goes back to a lot of shit where the 90s, as we've talked about many shows, was a different time. People had a different attitude. They had different thoughts. They had different sense of humor. And not that, it's not like it was like, not like we're comparing Blazing Saddles from then to now. But still, Happy Gilmore was what it was in the 90s. It was a great movie. It was different. It was something new. It was something fresh. The story was great. Everything about it was good. So to bring it back 30 years later, why? Like, is there a reason? Do you have a good script? Is it going to be worth it? Because people are going to go into it, as we all know, expecting a movie that should have come out 2 to 3 years after Happy Gilmore in the 90s. And that's the problem, is people get their expectations up. What's that?
Even 10 years later would have been fine, because there's a significant amount of time that's passed, like enough for you to miss it, but not enough where it's irrelevant, where it's kind of touchy. Like, yes, with our generation, that is something that is still relevant in our little nostalgia area of our minds, like Ghostbusters. Like, I know you and I had talked about it before Afterlife came out, and we both but we both had very, very big reservations about it because there, especially after the answer the call and the big and I say this, and this is just my opinion, it has nothing to do with the fact that it was a female led cast. The
I
issue
had no
was
problem with that.
the original two movies were written as science fiction, like serious science fiction movies. The reason
Yeah.
they were comedies was because of the way the actors improved and played their roles. Where that,
Yes.
we'll call it Answer the Call because it's kind of what they've been calling it for the last few years, was written as a comedy. Ghostbusters was never written as a comedy. And with Afterlife and Frozen Empire, they're not written as comedies. They're written as serious movies with comedy in them. And that's a huge difference. And it comes off. It hits completely different.
Oh, yeah.
It's like if Adam Sandler made a Ghostbusters movie, that's what Answer the Call would have been.
Do you know what's mind-boggling about Adam Sandler? That he is both the producer of both Let's Make a Deal and The Price is Right.
I mean, it makes sense. Him and Bob Barker kind of went at it. What better way to get back at Bob Barker for knocking you out than becoming the producer of a show? And what happened? All of a sudden, Bob Barker's gone. Drew Carey fills in the role. It's a conspiracy. You know what? Right here, I'm going to say it, and I don't care if Happy Madison Productions comes after me. Adam Sandler killed Bob Barker.
Wow. That's a fucking bold
Killed
statement,
his
man.
career, and after he killed his career, that wasn't enough for Adam Sandler. He had to finish him because of the embarrassment that happened on Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
I'm saying it here, saying it now. And
I just think it's weird when I'm watching a show that I watched, everybody watches as a kid. Now watching it as an adult, being like, produced by Adam Sandler. And then you think of like Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, and shit like that. And you're like, that dude just produced this show. And both of them like that. And Let's Make a Deal. So it's even more like, what the hell? What you and Wayne Brady got going on, huh?
Whoa. He's a murderer.
So,
and
yeah, I
he's
love Wayne
closeted?
Brady. What's that?
You're saying Adam Sandler's a murderer and he's closeted?
Who knows?
Wow, this is going off the rails.
I've seen Wayne Brady kiss many men on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
So what's your next movie?
A quick honorable mention to Swingers because it's the shit. Plus, we just went and saw Big Bad Voodoo Daddy on Wednesday, and we like I said before, we're friends with Dirk, the bass player, so we met up with him before the show and chatted. And we were talking about Swingers, to be honest with you. Yeah. And because where they were at the Derby, he's like, we always used to play there. It's now like a bank. He sent me pictures a couple of years ago because like the dome that's in it is still there, but now it's like a bank instead of whatever. So he was like, we used to just play it all the time. And he's like, Jon Favreau didn't tell us what the movie was about, like at all. Like we had no clue what the movie was. It was just the scenes that they were in, like at the Derby with, Favreau's character and that woman and dancing, whatever. He was like, that was it. And I'm like, and it's weird for me watching it now because watching it as a kid, I'm like, oh, this is a cool movie. Oh, there's Big Bad Voodoo Day, da, da, da. But now I watch it and I'm like, I know that dude.
Right.
But, so he was like, yeah. So when we went to see like the premiere of it, he was like, like I said, we had no clue. He was like, hey, we didn't know if we're walking into a movie that was going to be complete shit or if it was going to be, awesome. And he was like, it turned out to be awesome. Oh yeah, that movie is fantastic.
And honestly, that was my real first experience that I can remember. No, actually, I'd say second experience. My first experience with Vince Vaughn was the Psycho remake. And then I remember in high school, somebody's like, oh, dude, and it's the same when I go into the last movie I want to talk about. But somebody's like, oh, dude, you got to watch this movie. It's a really, really cool independent movie. It's funny, but it's serious. It's completely different. And as an upstate New York kid, like I have no real idea of Vegas. And like you have your idea of Vegas is the Vegas Strip. You don't know Vegas, all the other part. And like just seeing these guys getting ready to go out and like at the time, like the swing culture was kind of making a big comeback and like seeing the interactions between these two. And then like oh yeah, we're playing NHL like '92 or whatever the hell they were playing. Like I'm like, oh,
Watch, I can make Gretzky bleed. Watch, I'll make him bleed.
right, and like it was such a smart movie, and it's one of those movies that I go back to every 5-6 years or whatever, and I just watch and just have pure enjoyment watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the last movie that really like me,
Right.
because I was this way.
I have it on video.
Allergies. SLC Punk.
I had a feeling that's what you were going to say. So
Because as a punk kid, you know, like watching that, because it wasn't, you know, I mean, it was a well done movie, but it wasn't a fancy Hollywood production. I'm pretty sure it was a fucking
not at all.
International, you know, film festival movie. I think Lillard's first movie, to be honest with you. I don't know if he'd done anything before that. Maybe Little Things, but that was before Scream. That was before Scooby-Doo. But yeah, no, that movie, you know, it just kind of hit different. It viewed different. And at the end, you know, I mean, spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen this movie that came out 30 fucking years ago. You know, there was a character named Heroin Bob who never did drugs. That was whatever his name was. Irony, but ended up somebody gave him, you know, what they said was like something for a headache, and it turned out it wasn't, and he OD'd and died. And at the end, you see Matthew Lillard, you know, because the whole thing was you're a fucking poser, you're whatever, da da da. Right. And at the end, the last thing that Lillard says in the movie is he's sitting there in a fucking suit with a shaved head, was, we're all a bunch of goddamn posers. And that truly, like, as weird as it is, because I dressed the part. I had the fucking, well, I still wear band t-shirts, but, you know, I had fucking, like, the spike shit and chains and fucking rings and da-da-da-da, and, like, I watched that, and I'm like, it dawned on me then that it's all about what's in here and in here compared to here. And that literally was, you know, whatever, man. I'll forever be a punk rocker, and I'll knock you the fuck out if you say I'm not, because I will be. But I'm not walking around with a 2-foot fucking mohawk and a leather jacket with fucking spikes and shit with rancid fucking spray paint against the back, you know, like.
I don't know if you could grow that mohawk anymore, Todd.
I can't. I'm fucking.
So, Hackers and Scream both came out before SLC Punk.
Really?
Yep, and he was actually, so he had quite a few credits before that. He was in Ghoulies 3. He was in Serial Mom, Animal Room, Mad Love. Then in 95 he was in Hackers. 96 he was in Scream, and it was 98 he was in 5 movies, and SLC Punk was the last of those 5 movies that came out that year.
98. I thought it was earlier than 98.
So my experience with SLC Punk, again, I was not a punk rocker, but I feel like where I was in my generation was the spiritual successor to punk rock with the new metal rocker. Like, you know, like we spoke before, the Korn, the Limp Bizkit. That was my jam. And I had a friend, Katie Hildenbrandt. What's up, Hilds? She's the one who was like, "Yo, you have to watch this movie." She was really into that move, that kind of scene and everything. And that was the first movie that, and again, this will also lead into what I'm going to talk about after, that it was that funny movie, but it was serious. And like you said, when you're a teenager in like your early 20s, this is what I'm into. I have to show that image. I have to wear these band shirts. Oh, I got to wear, like with me, it was, I got to wear the camo shorts or the chino shorts and the red hat, and, or, you know, the Biscuit's wearing tribal. I got to wear tribal, you know, like, and you have to like rep your shit. And again, comes down to it, it's really a mindset. And
Yeah.
that movie, like, uh, what's the fuck's the kid's name? Is it Daewon Sawa or whatever his name is?
Oh yeah, fucking JoJo's brother.
Yes. And
Oh
he,
yeah, he was crazy in that.
like, the whole acid thing with the acid in his pockets going off and it going, and he literally fried his fucking skull. And
Dude, him sitting on that chair in front of his house,
yeah,
Bob fucking comes up to talk. Dude, that was probably one of the best. There's two great scenes in that movie. One with my favorite line ever. That scene with Bob and him outside and him describing everything and his mother, or whatever. And the scene where, I can't remember fucking Matthew Lillard's character's name. It's like, fuck.
Steve-O.
But when Steve-O, yeah, he's sitting there talking to his parents. And this is just one of those lines, man, where he's just like, I'm 18 and I could finally say, fuck you. Like that was, and again, as like a teenager seeing that, you're like, yeah. But that was like one of my favorite scenes and like lines from the movie. But yeah, no, Devin, that dude, like, yeah, that he crushed that fucking part.
And like the whole, did you ever watch the sequel?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I've been meaning to.
like it's different. Well, honestly, maybe that's something we'll discuss it on a later podcast. We'll both watch it. I'll rewatch it.
Yeah.
But like it was that movie that kind of, it was like a wake up call, and it was like, hey, like life isn't going to be this forever. And looking it back at older, wiser eyes, you realize how naive we are, how truly naive. And like we think, like you said, fuck you, I'm 18, I'll do what I want. If I can look back at 18-year-old me and have certain conversations with it, like, dude, you don't know fucking shit. You know nothing.
Oh yeah.
You think you know everything. You know jack. And that movie just, it shows that. It shows how naive, how much, like, especially, I feel like it's more of an American thing, even though I feel like it goes all the way across. We have these chips on our shoulders, and that it's I know I'm not supposed to do that because something bad can happen, but that's not going to happen to me. I'm like, and I've seen it with people I've grown up with, like, oh yeah, man, like I'm gonna try heroin. I'm gonna, I'm not gonna get addicted. I won't get addicted. Same with me.
Train spotting.
Right. And like even when I first started, when I used to smoke cigarettes fucking 15 years ago, I quit. But in the beginning it was, oh yeah, well, we're drinking, we're hanging, oh, let me get a cigarette. I'm not going to be addicted to these things. Like, not me. Like, I'm not going. I don't ever have to do this again. And then I find myself as a pack-a-day smoker for fucking 5 years. Like, the naivety, and that movie, like, highlights that. But you don't realize that when you're 18 and watching that. You realize it when you're 39, when you're 41, when you're in that older role watching that. And
when you've experienced more of life and realized, because as a kid, all we wanted to do was get the fuck out. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to go, I'm 18. I'm fucking moving out. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Then you get out there and you're like, shit.
And that segues perfect into the movie I want to talk about, and that's Clerks. Like, and the movie itself is almost hypocritical if you really, really think about it, because it's about these guys who have no drive, working in a convenience store in their everyday life. And even with the sequels, it shows like they really didn't accomplish much. Where when Kevin Smith made that movie, and it's been very well documented everything he went through to make that movie about nothing is what put him on the map and made him famous. And like it shows how forced we are, especially as young adults, to try to make these decisions about where our lives are going to go. Now, I know when you were 18 and when I was 18, neither one of us are really doing what we envisioned for ourselves. Like I for the longest time always wanted to be a cartoonist and like a writer and stuff like that. And now in my 40s, doing things like these podcasts and everything, like, are my stepping stones towards what I want to do to follow my dreams finally. But we always have, and like you see it with Dante and Randall in those. Oh well, I have time. I can go back to school. I can do. I'll work here for a year. That was me. It was. I failed out of college for a semester. I'm going to work for a year. Everything good back there?
Yeah, my dog's being an asshole.
And I'll work for a year, then I'll go back to school. Well, 1 year turned into 8. And in that 8 years, I had gotten married. I had had a kid. And it was not what I had envisioned for my life. Now, would I trade it for anything? Absolutely not. Like,
oh, yeah, no.
I'm glad the things that have happened to me because I wouldn't be here right now talking to you about Clerks. But the conversations, it was the first movie I can remember that, like, these guys are having conversations that I had with my friends. Like, the very famous Star Wars conversation about the Death Star. And, like, well, the Jedi and the Rebels were kind of assholes because what about the construction workers doing, like, just stupid shit like that? And, like, those are conversations, like, we had. And, like, the whole 37 Dicks thing. That is one of the funniest, but one of the most realistic conversations ever. Because, like, how many times have, like, like, you're hooking up with a girl, you just start dating with a girl, and, talk about your numbers or whatever, and, oh my God, you slept with, and then it comes out, well, you, like, made out with fucking everybody I know. Well, that's not bad. That's just making out. It's like, oh, I just sucked them off, 37 dicks. 37, and, like, you feel Dante's response to that. And even though it's hysterical, if you were in those shoes, you probably would react the same way. And to take this small New Jersey town, literally put it on the map, and you have, for the last, actually, I think Clerks came out in 94, so it's been like 30 years now.
Yeah.
And to create this world based on, like, those characters and everything, like, to me, it shows anything really is possible. You can be a comic book dork with just an idea, and with the right amount of luck, right amount of people believing in you, anything is possible. So I'm going to say like, subscribe, share, because anything's possible. Help us, help you get more content, because the more you guys like and share this, the more time we have to do this. And if we can quit our jobs to talk to you guys every single day, that'd be kind of cool to me. What about you, Todd? What do you think?
See, that's where it's hard for me now, because after 20 some fucking years, I actually have a job that I love to do. I would love to do this, but I fucking cannabis farmer, man. Like, that's it. That's where it's hard. People are like, oh, if I won the lottery, I'd quit my job. I'm like, at this point in time, I'd just be like, sweet, I'm a millionaire, but I'm going to go work now.
I'll forego my salary and give it to charity, and I will. Actually, you know what, Todd? If you become a millionaire, you can buy the fucking pot farm.
I don't know if I would want to do that per se. I would still enjoy working there. I would not enjoy owning it and having to take care of it. I would like to work there.
Okay. So if we become famous guys, Todd's not on the ride with us. So kick Harry Chronic Jr. here out.
I'm in. I just, I'll just be like, hey, I'm coming part-time.
Or,
and if they're like, no, I'll be like, I'll come in part-time. They'll be like, okay.
Okay, now I am buying it, and I'm going to come in here whatever the fuck I want, and I'm going to trim whatever the fuck I want, and you know what? This weed is mine.
I'm taking this plant with me. Goodbye.
I grabbed the wrong strain.
Yeah. Nope. Wanted this one.
And I want some of this.
Oh, no.
Wasn't Dobby.
Don't destroy your shit again, dude.
It wasn't Dobby. It was Voldemort.
So, for most of you, if you might not watch our Wrestle Fandom Radio, which is every Tuesday night, 2 weeks ago, Mr. Joe here came in yeeting and yeeted the shit out of his shelf behind him.
Okay, first of all, those of you who are not familiar with yeet, it's not what you think it is. Yeet is...
we're not throwing people across the room.
Yes, that's what it means. It doesn't mean... It's not the word that rhymes with yeet that Little John made famous in the song Get Low.
No.
It's not skeet. It's yeet.
No.
Like, watch. See this? I just yeeted that across the room.
That shit.
And I'll yeet you if you don't tune in on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Even if you're not a wrestling fan, we're goofy, we're ridiculous. You might be like, hey, you know what? That sounded interesting, and I'm going to turn on Raw or Dynamite or SmackDown or something like that. You know
what shenanigans my mom gets up to in the group chat.
Oh yeah, Joe's mom has infiltrated us the past. Well, not too much last week. The week before, though, she was coming in pretty hot. So,
whoa, did you just call my mom hot? Like, what did I? Okay, we already discussed this. None of you guys are tagging my mom, all right, Todd?
Yeah, sure.
You will not be my stepfather. You understand me, son?
Call me Big Daddy.
Ooh, go on. Yeah,
also a great
my mom kind of was, she was feeling a little frisky apparently and was trying to hook up with Todd, Garrett, and Drew. Hopefully not simultaneously because that would make Tuesdays very, very awkward.
I mean, even separately, it should make it pretty awkward, I would think.
It'd be like the sequel to 3 Men and a Little Baby, and I'd be the little baby, and you guys would be the 3 men. Folks, 3 men and a little,
great.
3 men and a little stones.
But no, so those are the movies that shaped Todd and Joe.
At least partly. There's so many more that we would love.
Oh yeah, there's a lot that were, if not like a big part, like definitely like, yeah, I enjoyed this, that, and the other thing. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was another one I forgot.
Oh,
just a great movie.
Oh,
didn't shape me, just a great movie.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. And before we go any further, hang on, I hate this computer. I want to tell everybody about my friend. Have you
ever found yourself in the need for some screen printing? What about some vinyl work? Well, we have the spot for you. Seasonal Sports, 215 Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro, has all your needs. Go see Fred at Seasonal Sports.
I should be a phone sex operator.
Does he have a website too? Can you order stuff from his website for people that might not live in the state?
Yes, you can. We actually have a Wrestle Fandom show, or for the show, a store on there that I'm pretty sure hasn't been updated since before I was on the show 4 years ago. But that's actually something I do want to talk with Fred about, and I'll come up with some designs, especially just for the network itself. I'm working on one with Drew doing his thing. I want to kind of cartoonize it, and it says, "Tell us a story." And those of you who missed Drew's rant a couple weeks ago on Wrestle Fandom, it was epic. And WWE, you should listen to him because I don't want him to have a stroke.
He yeeted the shit out of his hat.
Oh, he couldn't even get it after. It was somewhere in Samoa. I don't know where it went. But so Monday mornings, this is the show. Tuesdays, live. It's our only live show right now. 8 p.m. Wrestle Fandom Radio. Wednesdays, what was formerly known for the one episode as Movie Madness Spotlight is now going to be Masterpiece Movie Theta. And I think Garrett's going through an identity crisis, so he might not be Garrett anymore. We'll find out probably this Tuesday on Wrestle Fandom. Thursdays, yes, we're adding another day to the mix, guys. I am going to be updating and about different movie, comic book centric news and such. This past week was the first one. I think what I'm going to do as stories drop throughout the week, record little snippets and then put it all together to release on Thursday. So if I'm wearing different clothing, maybe if I just do it topless, nobody will know.
Yeah, that's why I don't know why
Yeah,
you just didn't run with that in the first place. I think we've crossed the border into NC-17, sir.
The border's down below, brother. And I actually can say, and I'm not telling a lie, I am doing today's podcast with no pants on. Because I need to go to bed very, very soon because I have to be up for work in a few hours. So why keep pants on when I don't have to? I'm actually wearing
That's true.
Some nice blue Under Armour shorts here. Yeah, you can see them a little bit there.
Yeah, no,
They almost match Todd's shirt.
it's true.
Then we're starting to go off the rails, and I think it's because I'm tired. But
Yeah, probably.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and
Happy days.
4. They all end in Y also. So if it ends with Y, look for some content. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Tell your moms. Apparently moms like the show.
We're all about moms.
You watch your mouth, Dad.